lined up, some from very far away. I'm just going to set this up, and I'll sing while I do it. Okay, so our first out-of-state comic. He is originally from Las Cruces, New Mexico. He's living in Boston right now for school, and he is very glad to be here. Please welcome Evan Zigmond.
Hi, my name is Evan Zigmond. Thank you so much for coming out. Give a big round of applause to Mel Ardell. Yes! We're here, folks. We're here. It's now. We're doing comedy. Let's do it. I have had a great time hanging out in Burlington this weekend. I had a very strange interaction at the farmer's market today, though. I bought this hat, this very hat. I was standing in line at a pastry place, and a man walks up behind me and he says, "Your hat still has a tag on it," which is a killer conversation starter. I was hooked instantly. Now, I'm fun. I like to quip. I like to schmooze. And so I replied, "Oh yes, I'm a living mannequin for that hat store over there." And he replied to me, "Well, maybe you should take your shirt off then." Yeah. Not only is that incredibly creepy, it's also just not how mannequins work. They're allowed to wear more than one article of clothing. It's not against their religion. My friend gave me the weirdest compliment earlier this week. He pulled me aside. He said, "No offense." That was how he started it off. No offense. That's a terrible way to start a compliment. Nothing he says after "no offense" is actually going to be nice. He's not going to be like, "Hey, no offense, but I get lost in those beautiful blue eyes." No. He said, "No offense, but I get really big George Costanza vibes from you." Hey, Evan, do you know what you remind me of? You remind me of the only Seinfeld character to spill spaghetti in his lap and fail an IQ test simultaneously. I read a very distressing statistic online earlier this week. The statistic said the average American eats 8 spiders in their sleep annually.
Hello?
I know. What the heck, right? Now, that's a distressing statistic. But it pales in comparison to this following statistic. In order to verify that information was true, scientists watched a test subject eat 8 spiders without lifting a finger to stop it. That is morbid. Imagine being a scientist, seeing a test subject eat a spider in their sleep and thinking, I kind of want to see where this goes. Maybe he'll eat another one. I do live in Boston for school. I have a gripe with Boston, and I would like to air it. Boston holds my bladder hostage. Yes, it's horrible. Every time I'm in the city, I need to pee, and they won't let me. A lot of businesses in Boston have customer-only restrooms, which is a very odd practice. I'm like, "Hey, can I pee in here?" And they're like, "Yeah, but first you gotta buy this banana." What? What an odd transaction. I'm trading my pee for a banana because of the invisible hand of the free market? I listen to stressful music. I love punk music. I love it so much. Which is, in a word, off-brand. I give off more of a physically allergic to punk music kind of vibe. People will come up to me at shows and be like, are you serious with this? You look like my dad. I love punk shows. I try to avoid the mosh pit at punk shows. Yeah. For those unfamiliar, a mosh pit is a part of a punk show where people get so riled up that they start punching and kicking and jostling each other. There's a lot of jostling. So much jostling. Now, I try to avoid the mosh pit because I value my life. The risk versus reward of a mosh pit is very much in favor of do not go in the mosh pit. Let's see. Would I rather be punched in the face or retain a perfectly unpunched face? I'll take the unpunched face every day of the week and twice on Sunday. I love going to punk shows in Boston. One of my complaints with Boston punk shows is a lot of the venues are very secretive about the address, and it's unnecessary. I was on Facebook recently. I saw an ad for a really cool-looking punk show, but under address, it just said, Ted's house. Ah, yes, the Ted, whom we all know. Will that be Nugent or Cruz? Which Ted will that be? So I scrolled down to see if I could contact somebody about where Ted's house is, and just said, ask Teddy. That's not how navigation works at all. Imagine if I asked Siri to direct me to a sushi place, and Siri just said, why don't you ask the sushi? Who's ready for my hot English Civil War takes? Yes! Oh, get ready for some English Civil War jokes, folks. The English Civil War was the wimpiest of the Civil Wars. First of all, the death toll? Pitiful, flaccid. The American Civil War, for comparison, 640,000 deaths. That is a beefy death toll. Meanwhile, the English Civil War, get this, oh my God, 84,000 deaths. More like the English Civil Skirmish, am I right? Second of all, the battles themselves could not have been engaging. Everyone was pitifully malnourished. I'm sure there was a lot of, oh, buddy, you just wait until I pick up this pike. Oh, my Lord, as soon as I pick up this pike, I will stab you in the name of Parliament. Oh, as soon as I pick up this very heavy pike with my noodle arms, it is over for you. Thirdly, every general in the English Civil War had a first name like they should be bullied. Oliver Cromwell should not have control of an army. He should have his head shoved in a locker. You know, after the conclusion of the First English Civil War, he was named Lord Protector of England. He should have been named Lord Pocket Protector. Now, I can't just go on and on about the Civil War without talking about the good parts. There were some hotties in the English Civil War. Oh, there were some smoke shows. Personally, I can't hear about Prince Rupert of the Rhine without getting a huge stiffy. Oh, Prince Rupert of the Rhine. Oh, Prince Rupert of the Rhine. He was a cavalryman under Charles I, and let me tell you, he can take my left flank anytime he wants. Oh, Prince Rupert of the Rhine. I want to serve you, Prince Rupert. I want to serve you like you served Louis XIV after you were exiled during the reign of Charles II. I love history. I love looking at where some of our major historical institutions have come from, like the institution of landlords. I despise the institution of landlords. Thank you. It is very outdated. The Wikipedia page for landlords states that the concept dates back to the 8th century, which, if you are unfamiliar, not the greatest period of time from which to take ideas. Hey everybody, remember that time period where there was one book and no one was allowed to read it? Remember that time period where you died if you pooped wrong? Steal some great ideas from there. That's my time. My name is Evan Zigmond. Thank you so much.
All right, this next comic hails from Boston, Massachusetts, and she hosts Lulls of the Irish every month down there. Please give a warm welcome to Sarah Francis.
Guys, Burlington, Vermont. I'm so relieved to be here, I'm going to be honest with you. Last week I did a show in Manchester, New Hampshire, and I'm pretty sure that I passed 6 extras from the wire from my car to the venue. It's pretty bad. So guys, last week I